Hi, guys. Thanks for stopping by. If you're subscribed, thank you. And if you're not, I hope you will subscribe and tell your friends so we can keep doing this. Um, if you're watching the hearings today and the grilling that Trump officials are getting in the Senate on the big screw up by Pete Hegseth and others having a very sensitive, top secret signal call, Tulsi Gabbard and others talking about imminent bombing of of Yemen and their operate. So here's what we have now. They were on Signal, and for those of you that don't know, it's something you put on your phone as an app. It doesn't retain the information. It doesn't retain data. It's supposed to be private. And the only way that these government officials, these Trump officials, the only reason they'd be doing this is to try and hide the fact that they were even having this call. But they're very sloppy because you cannot download Signal on a government apparatus, on your government phone, on your government computer. So they were using their personal phones. Their personal phones can be hacked by Russia, by China, by anybody. That this was even done because it's obviously against regulation, and they do this so that they don't like to have official records, of government work that they're doing. So Trump is long known for hiding this stuff because everything he's doing is illegal, unconstitutional. He clearly isn't doing it for national security reasons, or if he is, and if these people are doing it for those reasons, they are very, very stupid, too stupid to be in these roles, particularly Secretary Pete Hegseth. Tulsi Gabbard. Who else was on that call? But on that call, they accidentally, inadvertently, sloppily, irresponsibly included Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic. So he was actually sent operational details of an imminent bombing mission by the Secretary of Defense. It is unbelievable. And as I said in a short video that I posted a little while ago, thank you, Jeffrey Goldberg, for being an actual real reporter and reporting this right away to the American people, that this huge security breach, this huge screw up had occurred, and not waiting for a book deal and letting us know down the road, like, Maggie Haberman and Bob Woodward. So remember the name, Jeffrey Goldberg. He's now my new favorite journalist. So good for him. He had not, as the time when I'm recording this, he hadn't put out the information yet, but he may. He said he may. That the American people should at least know what Putin now obviously knows. And as Fred Wellman had reported, he was, I guess, on his Substack, and I see it on Twitter. He notes that there is he notes that this is really disturbing. He calls it breaking news that others have pointed out that Witkoff, now this is Trump's real estate buddy, who's now his special envoy to the Middle East. All right. He pointed out that he appeared to be in Moscow when he joined this group chat on Signal. Okay. And Sky News apparently has a detailed story on his timeline to Moscow. He was in Moscow. And so Fred, I guess, ran it up against a timeline from the Atlantic article. And it turns out that Witkoff was waiting for Putin, waiting to meet with Vladimir Putin in Moscow at the time that he was added to this call on Signal, where, again, a journalist was included. I can't, I wouldn't even write this in a bad TV movie. This is so bad, so dangerous. We can't even believe this is happening. And as Fred notes, there's a 7-hour time difference between DC and Moscow. So he was invited at 11:44 a.m. on Thursday, DC time. It was 6:44 p.m. in Moscow. He saw Putin at 8 p.m. So he's on this call, this very sensitive call. There was a huge screw up by numerous people. Remember, everybody on that call could have said, hey, we probably shouldn't be doing this on Signal because we're supposed to have at least some kind of an official recording or the dangers of it or something. So we had all these idiots on the call. And then so he's met with Putin at 8 p.m. and he left Moscow at 2 a.m. Oh man, I'm going to say it out loud. Witkoff may have actually been sitting in the Kremlin when he was on this call. And we've got Trump representatives in front of Congress say, hey, this is no big deal, man. They literally are saying, as point blank, is this serious? By Radcliffe, he's like, no, I don't think so. I mean, they don't even want to admit how bad it is when they've been caught. And then you've got the bimbo press secretary of Trump's behind a podium or outside at the microphone slamming Jeffrey Goldberg. She first tried to say that he was lying and that he's a problem reporter. I guarantee you, this woman is such an inexperienced idiot, and we already know she's a liar. I don't think she ever heard Jeffrey Goldberg's name before this, let alone ever having read The Atlantic. She doesn't strike me as a reader. So this is what we have. In case, some people get confused about all these different apps, I've used Signal. I'm not real fond of it just because I have so many things that I use. And as you know, Trump had his goons hack my computer, my email back in 2016 because I was suing him. He had kicked me off TV, and I had gone public that he had a super PAC. Actually, I just confirmed a already published piece in the Washington Post that he was saying was a lie. He and Lewandowski said was a lie, that he had no super PAC. He was self-funding. He wasn't. He had a super PAC. He was not self-funding. He even attended to the fundraisers for the super PAC. And Jared Kushner's mother had seeded the super PAC $100,000 and held a fundraiser at their New Jersey home, which Trump attended. And at the time, Jared Kushner's father was not allowed to contribute because he was a convicted felon. Well, he's been pardoned, and now he's a member of the Trump administration. Yeah, that's how this goes. So that's how I got in their sites, because I had a TV presence at the time, which he took care of. Trump had me kicked off TV. All he had to do, he didn't have a case against me. He just had to pick up the phone and tell Roger Ailes. A few months later, tell his little buddy, Jeff Zucker at CNN, that he didn't want me on anymore, and they obeyed. This was in the Republican primary. He wasn't the nominee. He wasn't anything. But this is how corrupt some of the people in the media are and what they'll do for whatever. He was great for ratings. So Signal is something that if your phone is hacked, they can see what you're typing in real time. There's different kinds of hackings. Sometimes if your email is hacked or something else, it's just a generic gathering of data. It might not be specifically targeted at you. If you've ever had your Facebook page hacked, it's just people out there doing it, having fun, maybe trying to get scammers or something. They're doing it for reasons for themselves. And you might just be a random person that they just chose to do this with. Signal, if your phone is hacked, it's very personal to you. They're not just collecting data. They're not just trying to, see what they can get somebody's credit card numbers. It is very specific to you. And if you are Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, Stephen Miller, and somebody wants to know what you're up to, they can hack your personal phone. Remember, I noted that Signal can't go on government devices. They can't download it. Yeah. See the problem here? These people are idiots. Trump only hires idiots, and they get so full of themselves, they don't know what they don't know. They're idiots. They think that, Elon Musk is a genius. So that's what happens with Signal. If your Twitter account is hacked, sometimes it's targeted to you, sometimes not. But for most people, when you're hacked, it's just if you're vulnerable, if your password is not that strong, if they find a way to break in, they're just trying to break into generic accounts. Or there might be a certain demographic that you are in. But when your phone is hacked, it's personal, okay? If your phone is tapped, and believe it or not, I had my phone tapped. I don't know how long it had been tapped. I have an idea. But my phone was actually tapped. That is very personal. This is where you have somebody listening to your calls. That's how significant you are to the people tapping your phone. They don't really have people tapping your phones just to get credit card information. And, they have other quicker ways to do that. So when your phone is tapped, you usually find out from someone else. I had someone else say, I'm hearing this weird clicking noise when we're on the phone. This has been happening for a few months. And then I went in and had the proper people confirm that, oh yeah, your phone has been tapped. A phone being hacked is different than a phone being tapped, but hacking is still pretty personal with Signal. So there's all these different ways that idiots and bad guys, crooks and criminals, and people associated with Trump will hack your information, but they're also such idiots that they're so easily hacked by Russians. And now we have Witkoff meeting with Putin right after he was on this Signal call where they were sharing top secret, sensitive. I mean, I don't even know if there's top secret national security stuff by people who should not be allowed within a mile of the Pentagon. The gravity of this is such that I can't even get my head around it. And I think that many people, or lay people who haven't worked in this industry, who are smart enough to be concerned, should be very concerned and pay attention to this, because you cannot let your Republican representatives blow this off or diminish to you the importance of it. Hold their feet to the fire. This is everything with Trump is hair on fire, but this is beyond comprehension. Absolutely beyond comprehension. I have worked national security issues back when I was on Capitol Hill as a legislative assistant for Defense and Foreign Affairs. I was in the process of getting my security clearance, but then went to another job before I went through exec and take a while. So I have just a little bit of exposure to this, enough to know how problematic this is, how dangerous this is. I can't even find the words to describe how bad this is. But anyway, I think it's important for people who don't use some of these apps, or if you've never been hacked, or at least to know the difference between the different types of hackings, people getting your data versus people very specifically wanting to know who you're talking to and what you're saying. And unfortunately, too much of this I learned because it was done to me. It was done to me. And yes, there was an FBI investigation, and it seemed that there was about to be indictments. And then Trump got into office, and looks like Jeff Sessions was able to just shut the FBI investigation, where they had spent months talking to me, talking to other people, wanting to talk to me in person, because we kept getting new data points proving that it was Trump's goons that did this. So while we are in a situation now where we see Trump 2.0 just getting rid of all investigations, everything is corrupt, everything's being deleted. He did do this in his first administration as well. It just wasn't as blatant or in such a large scale, because there were still some normal people in his administration that were at least somewhat trying to protect our guardrails. Now, not only do we have extremely evil, traitorous people working for Trump, but they apparently are just like too stupid to live. It's just insane. It is insane that this breach could have happened. So let's keep watching it. I'm glad that we've got some Democratic senators that are really, really questioning these people hard.